You're here. I've adjusted some of my stream settings, so I need to do a bit of a test. So I'm going to do main story quest. And hopefully I don't end up in the 45-minute one. But then 45 minutes would be a pretty good stream test, so let's see what happens. QJ. And I'm not healing it. I'm not healing next scenario. I would rather wait a long time. Oh gosh. I'm gonna get instantly too warm in my big woolly jumper though, so excuse me a moment. Alright. We are back and less stressed. I have the week off this week. And I've done all my chores this morning. So it is time to chill. And James came to speak to me the other day and was just like, your streams are taking up all the bandwidth. We have really bad internet in this place. We only moved in the summer. We didn't necessarily know how good the internet would be, but we kind of had an inkling that it wouldn't be great. It's not great. So I've reduced some of the settings. I've kind of noticed a lot of the stuff that I'm doing at the moment is, you know, like Boja, Blue Mage, Alliance raids, all that kind of stuff is like a lot of people, a lot of fighting, things happening. My system can handle it, but if I go into Limsa and walk around, it lags a little bit. So I can hit 60 frames per second, but I probably shouldn't stream 60 frames per second if we've got bad internet, so I've kind of reduced it. So it might have a lower quality. And I've reduced the bitrate, so we'll just have to see what the lag's like. And hopefully at some point we get better internet and I can make it all good again. Who knows? "11 minutes. Let's do retainers. Need to go through and lower a bunch of prices. Such a tedious job. Ooh. Ooh. That's cool. That's quite cool. What's it for? Black page. That's way cool. I'm gonna keep that. Wonder what that's from. Every now and then I've been getting like the I'm not sure if it's the same as the PvP gear or the equivalent of the PvP gear, but I've been getting that every now and then. I've just kind of stored it in the family, so. Like the healer's outfit, like the Astro healer's outfit that just gives you a massive butt. That's in there. I don't know why I stored it. I'm never going to wear something like that. It's hideous. Not on my butt. But that mask is cool. I think I'll wear that. I don't even have a headpiece on. Okay. Yeah, let's replace that. That is a choice I made at some point. At some point I thought to myself, that would be cool. Good one, these shots. We'll put it. Where's the mage class? There. Swap you out. That's pretty cool. I really like that. I normally don't have my headgear showing on that page. But I always think it's like, it would be really cool if someone was to examine you and be like, oh, that's a nice outfit, and then they examine the headpiece, which isn't visible, and they'll be like, whoa, that's so cool. And they'll think to themselves, wow, that person is so cool. He has a really cool headpiece, but he doesn't need to wear it because of how cool he is. But I will wear it. Because of because of how uncool I am. That looks great from the back. That's the other consideration for glams, is how good they look from the back, because if they don't look good from the back, then that's what you're going to be seeing all the time, is you're just going to be seeing it from the back. Unless you're like me and you switch to the front whenever you do anything, like teleporting. I always rotate the camera to the front when I teleport, and I only noticed that when I started watching the stream. What was I doing? Oh, dailies. That's some dailies done. I do that, I'm like, what? Let's see what I look like when I teleport. I should have checked if I can dye this headpiece, actually. Oh, we can. Oh my god! Why did I not check that? Oh, I don't know what I'd dye it though. Black's cool. I do have a blue dye out at the moment. I think it's that blue. Oh, okay, that's quite cool. Midnight blue. I might have to see if I've got some of that. That works really well with the gold inlay. Oh, no black though. Nah, black. Also, soot black is cheaper. Depends what I've got. I know I can buy soot black. Oh, I should have it. Do I have any stock? Yes, I do. Over here? No. Got their dyes. Dyes to dye for. They were. Obviously, I've already got. Should have desensitized a minion. Gosh, how rotten would that be? You get the little chocobo hatchling minion, and then you're like, oh, I've already got it, so you just murder it. Oh, look, Luan Lumber. Great. Most of those, actually. Let's head to cooking on there and pop this in. Before I forget. Number 8 still, so it's fine. We're going to the inn. Yes. Terribly forgetful in the morning, apparently. A lot more forgetful last night. I watched the stream from last night. Every now and then, if ever I end up streaming, and I may have gotten a little bit inebriated the night before, I watch the stream because I find myself laughing at my own joke. And then cringing at how stupid I am. Like red-eyed, bleary-eyed. What am I doing? That's cool. Sweet, that's done. Now let's do some dailies. Doro. Don't know how many crafters I've got left to level. What's that level? Culinarian 64. Yeah, I think it's just culinarian, right? Yes, yes, talk to me. Boys, where are these guys? 3 and there will be. I suppose that's it. I got my old tournament the other day. She's so cool. Right, what do you want? Set up brazier components. And then cheat and go on. Level 80. Go to the Namazu. Talk about glary eyed, I can go up and down that list 4 times before I actually find the thing that I need to make. I've only actually also coordinated the bars on one of my crafters. I think all of the others are just like randomly chopped up somewhere, so I need to run a macro at some point. I couldn't be asked doing it until I got them all to 80. Yay! Just go over here and then I remember what to do when I get out. Let's boogie. Is it Praetorium? Yay! Well, that gives me something to do for the next 45 minutes. Oh, I'm on Black Mage as well. I'm going to be able to do nothing. Everything will die instantly. Oh well. Do it for the experience. Not that I haven't experienced this a million times before. I was just saying that they should do some kind of level system that they have with Bosnia. Like, my Black Mage is 76, nearly 77. And I go into Bosnia and I level up. But I'm level 80. Of the two, this one's definitely better. I don't know. I know it's easier. It depends what you mean by better, I would say. I think it's longer. The other one, you can kind of cheese it a lot easier, I think. This one's got a lot of hard stops. And a lot of daddy said talk. Which I kind of don't mind. Hello, by the way, Bum Princess. And thank you for following me. That's very sweet of you. More XP, fair. Longer equals more XP. Speaking of which, let's pop this little manual and get rid of one of these foods. I have so much food. So much food. Yeah, I was just saying to my brother who's in my FC. Oh, bugger. Always the last one. Always the bridesmaid. Go. I was just saying they should do something with the other content that we've got now, like Copied Factory or something. The same thing that they have with the level sync system in Bosnia, which is where you sync up to 80 and do it. Because I'm in a situation now where I want the coins to help me get other things ready for raiding. So I want to get more of my classes up to 500. And Allegory tombstones are kind of useless for the 490 gear now until you upgrade them to 500. So I want to be able to grind out those coins, and I can grind out those coins, but I have to grind them on 80s, which is lame. So I have to get Black Mage to 80 first, whereas I could use that as a mechanic to get something from level 70 to 80 if they synced up to 80 via the Bosnia mechanic. But maybe they don't want people doing that. Maybe they just want people subbing and all that. So much bad UX in this game. Longer, more XP. Looks visually appealing with the cool bosses at the end. Fair. Fair. Fighting Ultima at the end. And the other daddy. Daddy dies. I'm gonna die this bit, I reckon. Oh, that healer's waiting. Let's attack. Yes. It's just being able to quote it word for word because you've done it so much. Kind of a bit late. But it is fun. Also, like, for a Realm Reborn, I think that the spectacle is pretty grand. You'd think something like spectacle in this game is reserved for, you know, the end of Heaven's Ward onwards. They're doing the thing. They've got the team card. What's that? It'll get to a situation when they introduce the third alliance trade where you'll have to drag yourself through Copied Factory and Puppet's Bunker for the 2 previous coins for the upgrade item. That kind of sucks. Not gonna lie, casual player. So I get the normal raid gear and I'm happy with it. Yeah, I've been there. It's like man, it's a chore. It's a chore that's worth it. It's worth it. I find it's worth it when the Moogle Trove is out. And the rest of my FC, like, we all just pile into a main story quest and cheese it. When you can get, like, mounts and riding maps and stuff from those Moogle tomes. What's interesting is that I was a casual player. And my FC have always been casual players. But then, I played Warcraft briefly for a couple of years. Well, I went back to Warcraft briefly for a couple of years when Battle for Azeroth came out. And I took a character on Alliance all the way to the end, and then we was in like an LGBT guild. This was me and my partner James were playing it together, and they were raiding, and they kind of convinced us to start raiding and start doing endgame content. Yeah, the patience to spam. If you have the patience to spam run it, then absolutely. Sometimes it's not patience. Sometimes it's just finding the game within the game. Like, because I level Astrologian, and I raid on Astrologian, and my favourite thing to do is rescue people into bad situations. And my FC know that. It's kind of like, it's the gimmick with those, and you'll see it, like, in previous streams, if you watch us running some of the old raid contents, you'll see every now and then I'll try and snipe them through an AoE, if I have the ability to. So that's fun, and that's why we enjoy it, especially if you can. It's like drunken maps, you know. You can kind of take your brain out with a lot of that content. So you find your own fun if the fun isn't there. But I would genuinely be interested in grinding it on Black Mage if I could use it to level up Black Mage. I loved Ast until they changed the cards. I didn't pick it up until after the change. And some people tell me that it's better now. I have no idea if it's better or worse. I'm glad they changed the mana management though. I'm glad they changed the MP. Because mana sucked. And now it's great. Now I don't need any piety. Come on, Magitech Daddy. Oh yeah. I like Asp because it feels again like game within the game. But when it comes to raiding, that's a serious tea. I suppose it wouldn't be the same experience if you don't have like a static. Yes, that's what I've heard. The cards were unique. That would probably be too confusing for me. But if you have a giant brain, like you do, if you used to be able to play it well, then you'd be an incredible asset to a static. I mean, I'm not great at Ast, but I can play Ast, and out of my static, I think I'm the only one that can. So I do it mostly for the raid boss to improve everyone else's damage. Yeah, I used to play this game on my own years and years ago, and then I went and played a bunch of different games on Warcraft for a number of years, and then came back, and all of a sudden, like, my brothers were playing, and they were in an FC together, and I was like, when did you guys get cool? Even though we're not cool, we're totally lame. I still remember each one's specific ability. Oh, I suppose that must be rotten then when they changed it. Like, when you get so good at something, like so fixed in your rotation. Oh, bugger! I'm going back home. I got distracted by my own bullshit. Yeah, I was very similar with Machinist, but I didn't I didn't play Machinist at endgame. So I never really got like the really good rotations. So when they changed it, I was able to pick up the new rotation pretty easily, but Machinist was kind of broken. At the end of Stormblood, because that used to be my main. Machinist used to be my main. Yeah, gosh, I can't imagine how rotten that must be, where you get so good at something and then they just change it. I don't know if everyone waited. I think everyone waited, that's very sweet. And quite unheard of for a main story quest then. I'm just not paying attention. Gosh, I'm one of the rotten people that other people hate when playing this game, is that I'm just completely not paying attention. I'm distracted by the good conversation, honestly. Do you have a desire to do endgame stuff now? Are you casual by design, or are you casual by limitation? Oh. I was just switching it. Are they all in? Yeah. I think I would have remained casual because all my brothers are casual, or they were casual rather, before we kind of stepped into the fray. But I had such a good time doing raiding in Warcraft with that last guild that when I came back I was like, I really like that kind of intense gameplay. Okay, I love problem solving, and I feel like endgame in this game is, particularly when something drops, like when it first drops, like when Eden dropped for example, and you run it blind. That's my favourite time in this game, is when you run with a static and you're running blind, so you just have to figure it out on the fly, and it's like instant problem solving. I adore that kind of content. And then Savage, you know, Extreme and Savage endgame. It's the difference between problem solving on your own versus problem solving together. Bow was a defense buff. Spear was crit up buff. Balance was attack up. You were MP, regen up. Wonderful things have ops. Spy was pointless. Well, maybe that's why they had to change it, because you had some pointless mechanics. TP regen. Obviously, TP went the way of the... What's that phrase? Way of the dodo. That's it. Extinct. Oh, it's good at cast time. That sounds cool. What was the healing like? Because that's what you're supposed to do, right? On healer. Like, how did it compare with Scholar and White Mage? Because for DPS, I leave it to my brother to DPS, because he's White Mage, and White Mage just pumps out so much DPS. I mean, there's changes that I have lamented that they've made. I can certainly understand lamenting the changes, but you kind of just have to roll with it. I think a lot of this game, and I think I've mentioned this in previous streams, a lot of this game is so much of what you make of it that you kind of just have to sometimes make your own game out of the game and find your fun again. Oh, healing was so good. You were White Mage and then you switched to Ast. Love the healing, the aesthetic. That's what made me pick Ast in the first place, is that it is pretty. And I really like pretty jobs. I feel like they outdid themselves in terms of particle effects on that. It's like Heaven's Ward was such a big dick swinging expansion. They really pulled out all the stops. Which, actually, to be fair, Machinist seemed a little lackluster in that regard. Like, if you compare the visuals from Machinist to Astrologian, it seems kind of weak. Dark Knight, I have no real opinion of. I don't play Dark Knight, and I don't really pay much attention to them. But Astrologian's just crazy. The level 3 Limit Break on Ast is the prettiest one, I think. Break down that wall! Mr. Gorbachev. I love a Berlin Wall reference. I have a feeling that someone who used to play Astrologian to the level that you used to play it, Fan Princess, would probably look at my streams now in Emerald and cringe. Because I just throw shit on the floor. And I just click and heal and then get my cards out whenever I can. I feel like there's probably a lot more calculation involved in old Ast than there is new Ast. Still play Ast sometimes. Don't use the cards nearly as much. Yeah. After the change, I decided to level Scholar from 1 to 80 and White Mage from 70 to 80. I think that was a good move. I think that's fair. My first healer was Scholar, actually, and I was in love with Scholar. Absolutely in love with Scholar. To the point where I would defend Scholar. Even though I hadn't played White Mage and Ast, I'd be like, no, Scholar's a good healer. And then I leveled Astrologian, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, they're different, and they're good, but they're both good. You play on Controller. So much harder to heal. I will only play on Controller for melee classes. And I leveled Monk from 1 to 80 because I realised if I play on a Controller I can move around the enemy a lot quicker. I don't think I could heal on Controller. But, you know, I think my brother and his girlfriend, they play on Controller. I think they both play on Controller. And he's not a bad healer. My other brother, who plays, he plays on mouse and keyboard, and he's the other healer in our static. So it's me on Astrologian and him on White Mage. But yeah, we both play on keyboard. I don't think you could get to that high-end level gameplay. I'd be interested to see someone performing at like a high-end level on Controller whilst healing. I feel like you can do it on tank. You'd have to really like... You'd have to be really good at targeting, I think, on tank when it comes to things like ads and stuff. But in terms of the speed at which you can use abilities that are used on yourself, like for example Monk, like when I play Monk on controller, it's super easy because all of the abilities are quick and you don't use abilities outside of your own character, so you don't have any ground targeting or anything like that. Samurai as well. Yeah. Yes, I do like. I like the fairy. I prefer heal over time, but I do like class because it's more DPS oriented due to the pet being able to heal independently. I'd say not so much. I would probably disagree in terms of Savage. Broil, the cast time on Broil always seems like a limitation. Biolysis, I think, is probably one of the strongest dots in the game. I'm not sure, but Broil being such a slow cast, and Art of War is brilliant. I love Art of War, but I think between 1 and 80, and particularly maybe I'm not so sure about like expert level on 80, you can independently heal, like the pet can heal and you can focus on other things because you can just pop those abilities like willy-nilly. Whereas my experience in Savage has been that it's a lot less easy to DPS, like because you're essentially managing two characters' healing rotations, and you have to throw in some DPS there. I've seen them do good DPS, but I think it's a bit more difficult. I think the reason why I enjoy Ass so much is that I'm not expected to be able to DPS as much as like a Scholar and a White Mage, because I'm just increasing everyone else's DPS, and AoE healing on Ast is just so powerful that I might as well do it. You were doing raid content with old Ast. Positive controller is the HP is small. The HP is smaller. Oh, the hitbox. The hitbox is smaller than it is for mouse and keyboard. Am I getting that right? Hitbox. HP. Sorry. I'm terrible when it comes to acronyms. I love the aesthetic of Scholar as well. My Scholar Glad is literally like a mortarboard and the Scholastic Robe. Oh, the hotbar. Oh, okay. Yes, you got less available buttons. Even with the extended ones, and even with the left, right, and right, left. Yeah, you do. I think my brother said it's something like 32 or 38, like you have that maximum amount of buttons. Like Paladin cannot fit all of the buttons that it has. All of the actions that it has, it cannot fit on a hot crossbar, even extended one. There are some abilities that Paladin has that cannot be crossbarred, which I think is crazy. And I feel like a lot of the changes that they've made in the past have been to streamline everything. That's crazy. That's clearly the healer's problem. I'll just let them grab me, I don't really care. Looks like Nero's going to be dead anyway. You have less abilities on main hotbar, so you have to switch hotbars. Difficult to choose which abilities go on the main hotbar. That's the difficulty that I have, I would say, so. Because it's like, you want your oh shit buttons to be in easy reach. But then for the comfort of the controller, you want your regularly used buttons to be in easy reach as well. And it's choosing between your standard rotation on the main hotbar and making sure that oh shit buttons are easily accessible. So that you can just motor function it, like you can just go instantly, oh, I need to, throw down something really quick. Like, oh, lustrate. And then things like XCOG, you want to just be able to go, okay, I'll apply that without going through finger gymnastics on the controller. mid-fight having to cycle through 3 hotbars. Yeah, I never do that. But maybe maybe I'm just not as committed. But like when I have samurai and when I have monk, if it's slightly not useful for me to have an action there, then I don't cycle. The only caveat with that is that I've extended going from I have a hotbar which is like teleport and mount and sprint, like some of the actions that you'd use just in the open world. I have a separate hotbar for those now on samurai. Which I think of as being like a massive chore. Like, oh, I have to switch one hotbar to get to my mount. Which is not ridiculous outside of combat, but apparently I'm just a prissy bitch. Oh god, it's coming to summit when I'm the first. Do you main Scholar now, or do you main White Mage? Or is it somewhere between the two? I'm guessing you still prefer healing. Why did they start voice acting now? Like, Sid was chatting to us earlier, and then all of a sudden, he starts voice acting now. I used to have my attacks on the secondary hotbar, but that was before I really tried to DPS between heals. So now I'm like, okay, what spells am I sacrificing? Yes, exactly! Easy access, and in order to be able to DPS effectively. Yeah, that's what I struggle with, is like the difference between the two. What I normally do, and I understand this is mouse and keyboard, I have a bunch of keybinds on my mouse, I have a bunch of keybinds on my keyboard, and I actually rearranged my hotbar recently, which screwed up all of my rotations, and I had to relearn a bunch of my muscle memory attacks again. But I have the key that's left to 1, the key that's just next to 1, which I'm not sure Americans have the same button as we do, or in Euro. And that button to number 4 is on the left-hand side, and then Q, E, R. That's on the left-hand side. And then in the middle is Alt versions of all of those. So Alt tilde to Alt 4, Alt Q, Alt E, and Alt R. And then on the right-hand side of my hotbars, I have a mouse button modifier to Control. So it's Control tilde to 4, Control Q, Control E, Control R. And then I have a bunch of mouse buttons that I can attack quickly. So my hotbars are like separated into mainly left hand, all left hand, and then left hand and mouse. And they're always the same buttons. So it's working out quite well so far. Except for I just keep getting high. You get 16 slots per hotbar on controller. Yeah, 4, 8, 12, 16. And then the extended 4, and then the extended 4. And then you've got the 8 on the LR and the 8 on the RL. 8, 24, 32. So you've got 32 within reach. But obviously those extra ones use up other hotbars. As long as they're not shared. I think I have one hotbar that's shared where I keep sprint on that hotbar, but I'm not sure. Like I say, I only use like melee classes, so they tend to have fewer buttons, like Sam and Monk. I don't know what I do healing on controller. I don't think I'd be able to. I think I'd just crumple into the fetal position. Oh, Daddy Gaius. Your masters lack the strength to do otherwise. There. For the world of man to mean anything, man must own the world. Strong in the patriarchy is he. Ever to raise himself through conflict, to grow rich through conquest. And when the dust of battle settles, it is ever the strong who dictate the fate of the weak. What? Going for gold. You don't have the extra ones. If you have any knowledge on how to do, I'd love to know. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I can show you now. Stick around until after, I can actually show you my monk ones. I use a Switch, Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and I just plug it in. Although recently, I'm not sure if it's because I upgraded to Windows 10 or because I did something with the controller, and now when I plug it in USB-wise, I think if Steam isn't loaded... Oh, that's it. I use the controller settings running through Steam so that it all just manages correctly, because I've got a Steam Link downstairs on the telly, on the projector. So I think now it kind of screws up a little bit. Since I installed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's kind of screws up a little bit. But I'll switch to Monk. After we've done this, I'll switch to Monk and I'll show you. It's some settings in the character config, I think. And I promise that's not just like a get out where you have to stay here watching me all the time. Feel free to come back or message me on an alternative platform, because I'm on that Facebook thing, so I can put it on that Facebook thing. Play on console, you can get more space on. No, so controller on console and controller on PC are the same. The settings are entirely the same. So you can get the extended bars. Because my friend Zoe, who you might have spoken to, or if you've seen previous streams, you might know Zoe, but she uses console, and she has the extended bars. I think it's less obvious on console because I distinctly remember a time where we had to explain to Zoe that you could extend the bars. I think it's less intuitive to turn them on. But she was having the same problem with Dancer, because obviously Dancer's got the dance buttons that you have to press. And her playing on console and doing like savage raiding and stuff, she just didn't feel like she had enough buttons on controller. And then we walked her through turning on the extra hotbars, the controller hotbars. It might be in the HUD actually. That's the point. You might have to make them visible as a HUD element. Just remembering it now. Because I think at the same time, I also showed people how to do the simplified UI HUD elements that they introduced in somewhere in patch like 3 point something. They introduced a simplified UI element. So you can see on my screen where I've got this element here instead of the big old ugly... Sorry, squaring it. Big old ugly black mage thing. That's the simplified UI element. I think the controller HUD might be the same. I'll take a look, I promise. If only I could skip these cutscenes. I'm a UX designer, so I spend most of my time manipulating the HUD. That's the real end game for me, is to get everything so that it's all pixel perfect and lined up. The worst thing is also I've remapped my number pad keys, and the arrows on the number pad is where you can nudge things. I know on the controller it's the left-hand stick, I think. I'm trying to figure shit out right now. I'm noticing some changes. Yeah. Take a look. You might have to, if you don't already have them enabled, you might have to enable them in character config and then make them visible in the HUD. So if you don't immediately see them there, it might be that they've not been turned on. Get in my neck, Gaius! Necky boy. Those are such like T-Rexy arms. Look, there's a huge chunky lizard-like machina with T-Rexy arms. It's all in the HUD. It's all in the hips. I'm gonna light my candle. Home inspirations. takes a bit of time before Gaius is something I can hit anyway. In hotbar settings, check the additional hotbar section. Honestly, it's a game changer. Aren't you glad you came on my stream now? See, if you're not laughing, you're learning. That's what I say. There's literally no point in me doing anything. You can't hurt it. So now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look at Scholar, you're going to have to look at White Mage, you're going to have to look at Ass, you're going to be like, oh my god, I've got all these buttons. There's one extra setting, if you've turned that on, where if you press left bumper and then right bumper, you get 8. And then if you turn right bumper and then left bumper, you get a different 8. So you've got a series of 8 on each one, depending on the coordination of the buttons you pressed. And I think that's so clever. As much as I gripe about Square Enix's UX ability, I think that's a really clever solution to the problem of limited button space. You can heal effectively and DPS. Yes. You can do what all of the elitist gamers expect you to do. There are also some handy macros as well for healing. I can't remember what it is. I got it on a few of my Blue Mage spells, but basically you can, for ground targeted stuff, you can have it. There we go. You can have it put something on the ground of where your target is standing. So for example, a healing bubble. If you need a healing bubble to throw it down around where the boss is to protect the melee, you just target the boss and then press the macro and it'll put the healing bubble directly under the boss. You have a res macro. So no one ever told me that this is a possibility. And an asylum macro. Oh, okay, yeah, so you've got that. I've only done it so far for a couple of Blue Mage stuff, but that's because with well, as you'll know, with Ass, like the dominance bubble, you don't want to put that down where people are. Sometimes you want to put that down where they're going to be, so that's why I don't macro that. I'm excited for the world of possibilities that you have now. What I normally do is I put, so the stuff with the longest recast timer I put furthest away unless it's a no shit button. So, for example, what would Ast have? The one that gives you the card that's missing. I can't remember what the ability is called, but there's a button with a really long recast timer that will give you, if you've got 2 icons in your 3 icon card collection thing, there's one that will give you the last one that you're missing. That has a really long recast timer. I have that button furthest away or hardest to get to. I'm excited for you. Isn't that interesting though, that you'd got so far in the game without knowing that that existed? That's quite impressive. Benediction is the best social one. Yes, I agree. I don't know much about White Mage. Do you get 1 Benny or 2? Or 3? Because obviously Ast gets 2. At level 80 I have 2 of my own shit button. Can't remember what it's called. Lustrate or Benediction or whatever the other one is.
I sought the life force of the primals for no reason but to quicken the core.
I don't know how many I have.
The true power of the
Gosh.
weapon lies within its now beating heart.
I feel like you've unlocked your true potential. If you're a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, this is like the last episode of Buffy, where all of the potential Slayers have had their potential unlocked.
For my God to be reborn.
Benny gets 1 at the moment. I don't know if it gets more than 1. I imagine it would. Surely it would. That would be cool. Although it is a full heal, so not OP, but White Mage is the only one that gets it. dark in here already.
Seven hells, through the
It's
very
amazing.
pinnacle of the heavens. The
Quarter to
world
3 and
shall
it's getting
tremble.
dark.
Unleash Ultima!
Oh, this is where the graphics are actually really good for a Realm Reborn. Like, look at the clouds. Thanks, Heidelin. Yeah. Yeah, you've been playing the game on hard mode and you've still been successful, so
Was not my intention.
you're gonna be even better now.
Oh, Heidelin, it seems the task of keeping your champion alive has exhausted what strength you had left. Van Belsar, your enemy's shield is broken.
The
The rest I leave to you.
We will speak later, Asian.
We'll speak later, Ascian. But first,
Savage Hero.
I must deal with you. The question of who is mightier remains.
Gosh. Have you done Emerald X already?
Let us find the answer together.
Because start with Emerald X, like it's way easy as far as fights go, and it gives you your 5-10 weapons, so. And if you need any help, I've got previous streams where we're just farming it, so. Oh, did I record the farm actually? I don't think I did. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know. I love this music. Oh, someone's dead. Oh no. I shouldn't laugh. There it goes. Just gonna shit this. Whoops. Sorry. You've got the new hotbar, no idea how to access it though. I'm guessing there. It might be more settings in controller settings. If I remember correctly, it's like activate this, activate that, activate this, activate that, and you have to tick, 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 tick to activate all of them. But maybe take a look at the HUD just to make sure that those
The subjects
options are visible to you.
must needs look to a higher power for providence.
Independence comes at a cost to the realm.
The misguided elevate the frail, and the frail lead the people astray. Unless a man of power wrests control, the cycle will never be broken. You of all people must see the truth in this. You who have the strength to rule.
This is making a lot of assumptions there on my strength to rule. I can't even keep a potted plant alive. That's cool. Look how cool that looks.
Pathetic. You boasted of unrivaled power. You were entrusted with the ultimate weapon. The ultimate magic. And still, you failed.
All this information was just a Google search away.
Glory of man.
Or a stream view away. What you should do now is just start randomly Googling things that are mild inconveniences to you.
Growing imbalance afflicting the planet must be redressed.
Just start Googling, like,
If it is permitted
how to stop
worsen
eyelashes from falling in your eye,
the very laws of existence,
how to instantly locate the other sandal,
physical will be warped beyond all recognition.
how to increase bladder
Know
size so that you
the
don't have
root
to stop
of this
to pee so
corruption.
often.
Hydaelyn,
I really need to pee, by the way.
like a parasite, she must be burned out if the planet is to recover. And not but the return of the one true god will ensure her complete excision.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yet, to
Sorry,
pave the way
spoilers.
for the Master's return, a chaotic confluence of untold proportions must needs be brought about. And that will necessitate the presence of the primals.
So when you said it then somewhere but you don't
Needless
remember
to
where.
say, both
I
you
have
and your
Google,
scion
so
accomplices
I can just
did
ask
not be
Google where my phone
suffered to
is.
interfere in this
I say, okay
endeavor.
Google, where's my phone? And it just starts to ring
You
wherever
will
it is.
not leave
Which is,
this place
like, I
alive.
forget my phone everywhere. I just put it down and then leave it alone. So I say, okay Google, and we have 3 floors in this house, so okay Google, where's my phone? And then she goes, okay, it's ringing now, and I have to be like really quiet, like, shh, Google, don't talk, shh. I'm streaming. I can hear that they've already started. Oh, whoops, standing in the bad.
Cannot be undone.
Do you play on one of the American servers of Princess? I imagine you do. If Facebook and everything to go by, I think it said that you're in there. Let's give me a second chance. How did I get a com? I got a Black Mage com. I feel like I've stole that. I shouldn't have had that. Right, I'm going to pop for a wee. I'm back, by the way. Yes, I think people have been playing like that. Let me just try and plug my controller and see if my screen goes nuts. Okay, so I'm on controller. I'll switch to my controller HUD, which is this one. And then I need to switch to a controller class. So monk, for example. Cool. So yes, I have my so if I tap L and then R, I get these ones. If I tap R and then L, I get two different ones. So that's where I tend to keep my consistent buttons on. Like sprint will always be in the same place no matter what the class. What else we've got? If you double tap, you get to these actions, which is the it's the main buttons on the right. So it's for me it's X, Y, A, and B. Same with those ones. If you double tap R, you'll get to the ones on the left. And then obviously you've got ones in the middle. So all in all, yeah, you've got 8, 8, 4, 4, 8, 8. I haven't played Monk in ages. I don't know what healing would be like. I think I set up tanking hotbars, but I don't think I've tanked much outside of maps, probably. Yeah, I tend to have like AoEs on one bar and then single target attacks on the other. I don't know if that's the best way for it, but that's what I do. Hope you've got all those settings. It's all HUD stuff as well. So like, you select the hot crossbar, and then the other ones are the additional hot crossbars. So where it says left W crossbar, right W crossbar. See there? That's the additional crossbar, the one that's diagonally open to the left. It's a lot more compact. Like it's expanded but compact. Weird, I know. But, well, that's what it is. And then you have to turn it off. Well, I have to turn it off now. Uchiwa. I'll scroll past it 5 times. I'm just imagining you like frantically trying to decide what to put where. It's like finding an extra room in your house, or finding out that your house has an additional floor. My healer hood. Oh, you won't see it because I'm not in a party, but my party box appears here and big on the right. Oh, and this is how I was describing my hotbars before. I just have to adjust the stream a second so that you can see my cursor. Capture cursor. So you can see my cursor now. So like, Yeah, my hotbars are separated into left hand only. Well, left hand is these 8, left hand and alt is these 8, and then control, which is on my mouse, and the same buttons there on the right. And then these at the bottom are entirely mouse. Well, mouse, alt, mouse, and oh no, just mouse and alt then. Need to employ the scientific method. Fuck around and find out. The difficult part is like when shit hits the fan and you fumble, but like if you play on controller, and I'm sure you're already at the point now where you don't need to look at the hotbar to know what the buttons do. So it's just a case of getting that muscle memory flexed again. Sometimes what confuses me when I'm on Monk or Sam is the whole L and R and then R and L hotbars. Sometimes I get those because you have to press them so quick when you're doing your rotation that sometimes I end up getting them the wrong way around. Well, that's just I rarely play those. So. You made the cast bar for the enemy massive. Thought to been raised, but not realising it was casting a raid wide. I need to do that. I saw someone had done that on a stream the other day, and I think I need to do that myself. Let's see what it is. Target bar, fox bar, snow. I don't need the snow dead on. I don't know why I still have it on, but old habits and all that. Oh, let's go past it. Or is it some of it I think you might need to enable, possibly? Do you need to enable it? So it's target circuits that. Might turn that on. See what happens. It's weird. Should I make myself a tag? Because that's where that shows up now. That's where I'm used to seeing it. I don't know how to separate that element out. System level. Target. Oh, settings. Ow! Oh, what am I like? Target information dependent. Oh gosh. Yeah, I do need to sort that out, don't I? The progress bar 120 140, let's be safe. Oh, and this means I have to center everything again. Cannot abide if they're not centered. I wish I had done this. I'm gonna put that somewhere a bit more prominent. So there. Because those and Thebes will never go that far down, so. Well, they will, but they won't be that much of a deal. Unless I put it right. I just don't want to get in the way of gameplay. Let's try it like that. That might annoy me. That's put it a bit further up then. I think it's cool. I'd never done it before, actually. Obviously, if I'm just doing it now, but it's interesting, isn't it? Like, how far you get in the game before you realise there's something that you haven't done. I've been playing this game for years, and there are duties that I haven't done. I think a month ago was the first time that I'd done Never Read, which was one of the experts in the end of Heaven's Ward. So it's a completely optional dungeon. You never had to do it. And I bet there's loads of people in this game who have content like that where, you know, because you don't have to do it. And the quest to unlock it might be in some really obscure place in the Sea of Clouds, like Never Read was. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? 180 mid-fight. 180 mid-left. I don't know where the party is. I think it'll just annoy me though. Also, I don't like how not in line that is. I need to see what other status infos look like. Oh, I know. Oh, this is where I'm gonna have to do the same thing. Split that out. I will spend hours doing this. Progress bar. Because you don't want the target HP by too high. Because you do need to be able to see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that needs to go there. Actually, it needs to go a bit further. And then the progress bar. That's too low. So. This is really exciting stream content, I do appreciate. The problem is... Oh, look at that slight movement. Where? Okay, let's try and match. Let's try and get the DPS one perfect first. So I want that to start. The HP starts there. Nope, nope. And then that can go probably there. I'm glad you tuned in as well. See, we're helping as a community. It's weird that you can't split that out the same way that you can with like I've split out my status effects is like the benefit ones are on this side and then the enfeebles are somewhere else. Oh no, I'm chatting shit. My enfeebles appear next to the party list if I remember correctly, or just like in a prominent place so that I know when I've got something on me. So yeah, enfeebles are normally there, and then my party list for healing is there. And then when I'm DPS, my enfeebles just appear quite close to the enemy list. Oh, there, actually. So let's have a look at that one. I want that to marry that, so this needs to go just a tiny bit further up. And this needs to go like there. And I can nudge these with the numpad, but I've remapped my my numpad, so I can't nudge. Will it accept? Yes, it'll accept controller input. Oh, bless you, controller. Bless you. Oh, you need to go down and left. Save. So you're in the right place. You need to go up a bit. That's my DPS one, so we're lining healing with DPS. So we need to go down a bit actually. haven't left it. This is the content that people signed up for, I think. That one, DPS, so yeah, let's just get something out there. Come on, not touch it. Naughty target bar, touching the other elements. How important. You just put YouTube on Netflix on. You went live right now when I was logging in. That's normally what I do, actually. Not just like me streaming, but I have a lot of friends who are like comedians or, you know, actors or performers in general, and people who are just like funny and they play games and they stream on Twitch. And I just have them on as if they're like TV in the background. But I like being able to interact with people as well, which is what you're doing now. And in this instance, we seem to have benefited each other. Look at that. That'll do. Still nice and clean. I don't know whether that's going to wind me up. It might wind me up. I'm sure it won't. I don't know why. Oh, ritual. I like having the streams on in the background. In the background. I normally stream a lot later though. I'm only streaming. It's 3:10 here. Yeah, it's 3:10. Normally, I'd stream in the evening, which is when we tend to do raid stuff. So I suppose in the Americas, you'd probably miss me normally. But like I said at the start of the stream, I'm trialing a lower bandwidth to try and save my internet because it's shite in this new house. So any feedback on the quality of the stream is much appreciated in terms of audio and in terms of how it looks. Oh, okay. It's not early for you then. That's cool. Gosh, if it's 3 now, that's 3 hours plus 2 hours, 5 hours. So you're 5 hours behind. So I suppose if I'm playing it, when do we normally play? 9 PM to 11 PM? That would be 4 PM to 6 PM for you, I guess. Not bad of an evening, I guess. I'm trying to think when I normally start getting into media stuff. I'm normally in work until like 5, half 5. Not in work, obviously. Current pandemic excluded. Oh! Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad we get around. I'm not so versed, but then I suppose, like, in terms of the US, you guys span quite a lot of time zones, don't you? So it could be anywhere. I have another friend of mine who was on my stream the other day. He lives in Austin, Texas. I never asked him what time it was, where he was, but I suppose that's kind of in the middle, isn't it? So you've got the East Coast, and then the centre, and then the West Coast. Gosh. 3 or 4 time zones. Greedy. We have 1. An American friend of mine, about 11 years ago, 12 years ago I want to say, She was from New Mexico and she stayed over, and she said that her brother thought that Britain was an island inside of London, which kind of set the tone for, in my head, what Americans consider the UK to be like. Yeah, amazing. New and improved time. Our time is, I suppose, quite ancient. Oh, of course it turned 3 o'clock. I was just wondering then, like, why do I have 2 sets of dailies to do? But it just went on to the next day. Oh gosh, that means we can start doing... We do everything again. Timers have reset, we've got our allowances. That's so much to do. Let's shoot some cat boys. Catfish boys. Not some cat boys. Gosh, I hate that you have to. Nope. Come on. I can never get them like 1, 2, 3. Half of my estate is one time zone, and the other half is an hour behind. At least you get to turn around to the other half of the state and go, well, we're a lot more with it than you are. Get relevant, dudes. You're literally in the future. And I suppose if you wanted to, you could drive to the past. I think I'd probably ham it up in regards to, like, if you travelled to the part of the state that's back in time, you could just stand there and just be like, wow, we used to live so differently. You'd be going back in time, technically. No, you'd be staying current, wouldn't you? Oh, what you could do is, like, be at like 1:59 on one part of the time zone, and then as that turns to 2, jump over to the next part of the time zone, the different time zone, which is like, oh, you're reliving the same hour of your life. We are so in sync. So in sync, we are in sync. We don't have any time zone fun here. We're just old fuddies. The most exciting time zone fun we have is like whenever I've been to like a trip to Berlin or something, or Prague, or somewhere in Europe, which I'm not sure I'm going to be doing anytime soon. Thanks, Boris Johnson. And we've said, oh look, we're an hour ahead or we're an hour behind. Maybe I am you. Maybe I'm a different version of you. Oh, I can wear my nice things there. Look at that outfit. Fucking shopping. Get rid. There we go. My Christvalgar outfit. America's so big though, isn't it? Like, it's so vast. Like, a 4-hour drive seems like nothing to you guys, whereas to us that would be half the country laterally, I think. You would pass, if you were to drive for 4 hours in the UK, you would pass about 3 different accent regions. From Geordie, Liverpudlian, Birmingham, all of that. Imagine working the night shift and you come in at midnight and at 2 AM it changes back to 1. Having to work the extra hour because you don't get off until 6 AM. Gosh, yeah. That would really muddy the waters. Imagine if you lived on one side of the time zone and then worked on the other. So you'd get home, have an hour's less sleep, and then... Well, no, it wouldn't make a difference, would it? Oh, that messes with my head. Let me just do my dailies. I just want to think about dailies. You guys call... I thought you guys called autumn fall, so when I read during the fall back in the autumn... Or do you mean the fall back? As in daylight savings time? Because you guys use the term leap forward and fall back. Leap forward? Oh, spring forward, that's it. Spring forward and fall back. You guys use that term, but... Whereas we just get it wrong. we just decide that we don't know what we're doing. What am I doing? Steeping. Yeah, daylight savings time. I thought so. Yeah, that messes with my head. Hood elements. We can talk about hood elements. Not so good on the daylight savings time. I don't want to say fall back in the fall. I suppose it would. I do feel like fall is a nicer term for autumn than autumn. That makes sense. Fall back in the autumn. It makes sense to me. It's a lot more cumbersome than saying the end of daylight savings time in the autumn. Hello, hello. How are you, Will? Thank you for joining. Lovely to see your username, if not your face. Autumn sounds more regal. I suppose it does. It reminds me of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, saying autumn in Mr. Tumnus. Which in my head is like inherently autumn. It's wintertime, perpetually wintertime, isn't it? yeah. We've workshopped Van Princess's controller issues over the course of about an hour. Literally changed their life, her life, if I can be so presumptuous. You're a new woman. I'm very much the same, except now I have a progress bar that I can look at in raids, so that's nice. And then we've got on to the differences in time zones. So you are all caught up, my friend. Now you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable in the sense that you can keep more people alive and cause pain. Are you gonna keep working on it with Scholar or White Mage first? What's gonna be your focus? I always say, no one will die unless I will it so. And again, if you watch like previous Alliance raids, you will see me attempting to kill a lot of people with gusto. But that's the thing about static and running old content, is that it's always... You always do it, don't you? Like, you know it so well, you start to look at ways in which you can game the game. I love when you get like a HQ request, like it's going to be a big deal. Pristine figure. And then you just press the HQ button, which is here. I win. Oh, what's the other one? All done. Let's head back. There's nothing else. No, there's not. Finish game White Mist to 80. Oh, it's not 80 level. Oh no, you did say that. Get all the healers to 80. That's a good idea. I never did that at first. I only leveled Scholar at first, and I couldn't really relate to the other healers. You've got Nearest Guardian healing set. That's good. That's what initially I tried to do with all of my gatherers. They all use the same gathering gear. That's always the goal, isn't it? Is to try and level everyone up who uses the same kind of gear set so that you can get rid of the extra gear sets that you've got weighing your retainers down or your saddlebags down or anything like that. Look how close I am to that level. How annoying is that? Who's got the bonus? Who can I get rid of? Nope. Nope. Oh wait, is it L2? Nope. I only need one. See, my problem is 490 item level isn't the issue that I have now, it's 500. So I have Astrologian is now 500 because I managed to get the Emerald Weapon. Well, that's 506 actually. I think I got a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, the oh, excuse me, the new Alliance mode gear. I got some of that, and then this thing, which I wish I didn't glam because it actually looks really cool. Yeah, it's good for all three healers. Did you see my Scholar glam? Oh, I can't do it. Why don't I just go? I'm just go there anyway. Yeah. That's fair. Well, do you know about the augmented Neo's Guardian stuff? I suppose you can't buy it with Fanta anymore, can you? What do you buy it with? Yeah, you can turn high quality Neo's Guardian gear into augmented high quality Neo's Guardian gear. So then all your 480 gear becomes 490 gear. And I think it's just Homestone Exchange. I have the I have a bunch of it just stacked up because I was like, oh, I'll buy all of this and then I'll just use all the gil that I have instead of wasting time exchanging stuff. So let's see what you can buy it with. Yeah, it's Allegory now. So if you go to this NPC in Yulmore and you buy the... Oh gosh, which one is it? I think it's Undersea Rain. You buy the Undersea Rain. Yeah, so the HQ Neowish Guardian stuff, if you come, you can trade it for Yulmoran certificates of quality novelty HQ. Trade gear or weapons or whatever. You'll get these certificates. And you get quite a few as well, like 42, 33, blah blah blah. Normally it's the equivalent to buy a new set. And then with that, you can use it to exchange for the augmented Neowish Guardian equipment. and the augmented Nearest Guardian equipment is 490. So you'd go from 480 to 490, and it would just be spending allegory, which is only allegory. Millions and millions ago. I do have millions of go, so I can relate to that. Yeah, so you see here, all you need is the Undersea Rain and the Yulmoran Certificate of Novelty. Undersea Rain, you just exchange it for allegory. So if you've got enough allegory, just stack that up. And the certificates, I actually have like stacks and stacks of them because I just spent all of my Phantasmagoria tomes on them. Yeah, exactly. That's all 490, and it's all equivocable. So if you trade in, so you've got the healer set, right? So you go to gear, you look for any of the coats so like the coats will always give 42, the legs will always give 33. So if you get 42 from trading in a high quality Nearest Guardian top of fending, and you get the 2 Calusian Rain, or the 3, or however much it takes, and then you go and buy the augmented stuff, all you would then have to do is trade in the 42 that you just got, plus 5 Undersea Rain, which at 50 allegory is 250. 250 allegory is all it would cost you for a 490 piece of gear, to turn a 480 into a 490 piece of gear. And you can do that with everything. All of your accessories, all of your gear, even the weapon, I think. And then you've got 490 set instead of a 480 set. And like you say, it's true, all of your healers can use that set. So you've got a full 490 set. The cool thing is, if you don't have enough for a full set, you should have, but if you don't have enough for a full set, you can just buy the high quality Nearest Guardian stuff from the auction house and trade that in. It does not have to be something that you can equip. It basically turns the Nearest Guardian set into a resource that you just trade in for these certificates. I actually feel like I might be able to trade some stuff in, but I have so many of these Yulmoran certificates of novelty. You need to get the weapon for White Mage and Scholar. Depends on which you choose to win. I suppose I'd probably get the relic weapon instead, because that you get the relic weapon for spending 1,000 poetics. So poetics, you get poetics coming out the ass. If you go to Gangos, as long as you've done the Rabanastra Alliance raids. Oh, jolly good. Pantsless Princess, thank you for following. As long as you've done the Rabanastra Alliance raid stuff, you'll be able to go to Gangos and you'll be able to get the relic weapon, and the relic weapon is 485. It starts at 485, and they've introduced the new relic weapon quest so that you can upgrade that to a 500. Is it 485? Let me show you. Oh, hang on, let me just turn the teleportation button on. I'm not spending full price. And let's leave that for now. And go to my house, because that's my shortcut to Gangos. It's cheaper. This is how I've got the big bucks. Let me turn my lights on as well, it's a bit dark. There we go. So from here, I will go to the Doman Enclave. I don't think you unlock it in the Doman Enclave. You might do. It's been so long. And then from the Doman Enclave, I think you can take the Aetheryte if you've not been already. You've never done early relics. Well, this is an introduction to relics. This isn't a past one. This is a new one. So you start from scratch with this anyway. You didn't do any A Realm Reborn. I've only done one A Realm Reborn relic, and then upgraded it during the Heaven's Ward sequence. Didn't do any endgame content. Bit in Stormblood. I never did any in Stormblood, and I was at endgame in Stormblood. I just never did it. And more of Shadowbringers. I think Shadowbringers is probably the most accessible endgame content. But if you go to Gangos, which is, you can get to it from the Doman Enclave, either from the Aetheryte, or you might have to get the ferry. which is just there's that chap at the dock in Dorman Enclave. If you go to speak to this person, Zaltan, he will give you the quest to start a relic weapon. And the relic weapons, like for example, if I switch to Scholar, this is the relic weapon for Scholar, and it starts at 485. I don't think I can show you what it looks like because I've glammed it. I've glammed it to be that one. I can't remember where I got that one. I think that's a very old relic. But yeah, these weapons start at 485, and it's relatively easy to level them up. You collect these what are called memories. So tortured memory of the dying, sorrowful memory of the dying, and harrowing memory of the dying. You basically just do a few fate. Well, I say a few. You have to get 20 of each, green, blue, and red. You do those fates in the. You can get them from Bosnia, but you don't need to. You can do it from the Heaven's Ward areas. So Dravanian Hinterlands for red, Dravanian Forelands for blue. Where Tailfeather is, I can't remember what the map's called, but the map where Tailfeather is, that's the blue one. And then for the yellow one is where Falcon's Nest is, so literally just north of Ishgard. You collect 20 of those, you trade them into this dude. In fact, actually, I wonder, what relic do I have to trade in? Because I have enough. For Want of a Memory is the Samurai one, and then I've got the Will to Resist, which is the Red Mage one. So if I go to Red Mage, so I have this glammed anyway for the Horde, the Seeing Horde thing. The annoying thing is that you need to equip a different weapon, because you trade that weapon in. You need to be on the class that you equip, and it's yes. I'm gonna have to look there because I've forgotten as well. Let's go to, so in Dravania, you get the yellow ones. So you get the red ones from this one, which is the Dravanian Hinterlands. You get the I don't want to go there. Dravanian Forelands is where you get the blue one, and then the yellow one you get from the Western Highlands. So if you do fates in those, and if you go right now, you'll probably see a lot of people fating there because a lot of people are collecting the relics. But the annoying thing is when you trade it in, so this one's the second version, this is the item level 500 one, so you only have to trade it in once with those memories, and you've got an instant item level 500 weapon. So it's one of the easiest ways to get a quite decent weapon at this point. You can trade it in again with these Bitter Memory of the Dying, which you can get from, once you've unlocked that stage of the relic quest, you get it every time you do a leveling roulette. You can also get it whenever you do any level 60 duty. So a bunch of people was farming the anti-tower to just get loads and loads and loads of those greens. You can also get them from within Bosnia. How do you start again? If you haven't been to Bosnia, or rather, if you haven't been to Gangos, which is here, which is, you get the ferry from the Dorman Enclave to get to here, you'll have to unlock it. I can't remember where you start unlocking it. If anyone remembers in the ring chat, please mention. I think it's in the Dorman Enclave. I think it is. Basically, I'll go to the ferry dock. Actually, I will trade in. I don't have a spare samurai weapon, so I can't trade it in. That's the other thing that's a pain in the ass. You need to be on the class that you're trading the weapon in, but you can't have the weapon equipped. So if it's your main weapon, you need to go and get a worse weapon to equip to still be on the same class, to take the relic weapon and put it in your inventory so that you can trade it to the dude, so that you can upgrade it, put it back in your inventory, and then swap it out. Really bad UX. Who'd have thought Square Enix would have really bad UX? But that's by the by. That's just a case of you need to go and get a cheap samurai sword or red mage sword, or in your case it would just be like an arcanist weapon if you're upgrading Scholar. Yeah, this is the area where you can get to Gangos. And I imagine the quest line starts here. You've been in the Enclave a lot. You did the reconstruction. Okay, so yeah, it's at the ferry docks. I'm pretty certain this is where it all starts. And then you go there, you do a quest line, you do a small quest line. There's a solo duty which is amazing, and it involves Sid. And it kind of sets up the what I think is going to be the storyline for Gangos and Bosnia and possibly the next expansion. And that's where it kind of leans in that direction. You have to have done the Rabanastre Orba Monastery. You have to have done all of those raids first, which are the level 70 Alliance raids. Once you've completed that quest line, that's when you can start doing all of this stuff. But once you've done the solo duty, you can then start making new relics. And honestly, at this point, that's the easiest way to get a high level. Like, we've been farming Emerald Weapon Extreme to get 510s. So I have a 515, so that's a 515 weapon that I have now when you have to farm an Extreme. To get a 500 weapon on a bunch of my classes, even like Samurai and Monk that I very rarely play. Look at the dancer ones, they look really pretty. And they glow as well, they're very pretty. So yeah, you want to do that. You never finish the raids. Just queue up for them. Like, they're happening pretty regularly. You might have to wait like half an hour and go through the series and go through the cutscenes and stuff, but you want to do them because I think they're going to be relevant to the next expansion for sure. And they're pretty fun, to be honest. Like, they're long, because they're particularly the last one. I can't remember what it's called. I think that one is there's the Lost City of Rabanastre is the first one, and then there's the Ridorana Lighthouse, which is the second one, and then there's the Orobon Monastery. Orobon Monastery is a bit difficult if you've never done it before, but they're all pretty fun. It's just that Orobon's a little bit hard at the end, I think, if there's too many people who don't know what the strats are. But they're good, and you'll be able to get them done, and then you'll just be able to first of all level up really easily between level 70 and level 80, because Bosnia gives you experience, and you can enter it from level 71, but your character is leveled up to 80 and you gain experience, so you get to 80 pretty quick. Still need to get back in. There's so much you need to do. Hey, get back into it and I'll help you, I promise. Did the CT raids, of course. Never did the 70 raids. Do the 70 raids. It's definitely worth it. If like you say, you've got like 6 level 80s, gosh, you could just really easily get weapons for all of those level 80s. Yeah, go on. Where even are they? So they're in here. Yep, the Royal City of Rabanastre. And oh my god, that is a really pretty raid. Like, that is fun. I love Rabanastre. Some people, like, when they load in, they sigh because it's kind of like equivalent to Copied Factory or Puppet's Bunker now, is that they're long, they're a bit of a slog, but the encounters are fun. And honestly, even though we have to kind of grind Copied Factory and Puppets now to get the coin, I still enjoy them. I still think they're fun. I just wish that they'd let us enter them at level 70 and use the experience to level up to 80, rather than having to use a level 80 that's not going to get experience. You did the first one. Well, okay, then that's good. That's just, there's 2 more to do. And the Ridorana Lighthouse is pretty cool. It has Math Boy in it. There's a boss, I don't want to spoil it, but there is a boss that has a mechanic where he takes your health down to single digits, and he gives you a math problem that you have to solve. So there'll be like 4 squares on the floor. One will have a number 1 in, 2, 3, and 4. And your health might have gone down to number 6 or number 5 or something, and he'll say you need to be a prime number. So if you're 4 and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, you need to go into the number 1 thing that takes your health up to 5, where you're a prime number, and then you get a defense bonus. It's so cool, those mechanics. Alliance raids give you anxiety. I can relate to that, but see, this is why I'm really glad that I have a static, because I can just run content with people that I know, and sometimes even just having 2 or 3 people that you know in it, like, helps. The other thing I'd say though is, if you've got utility outside of the game to organise stuff, so if you're in any Discord channels, or if you're like in the Facebook group that we're both in, like, just ask people. I'd say that's probably the best advice I can give, is to just have confidence and ask them. hey, can someone run this? 9 times out of 10 someone will say yes, just because the content's so fun that they'll run it anyway. I joined a couple of Discord channels, Discord servers, which one of them's for Lich, which is specifically the realm that I'm on, and then one of them is for Light, which is the data center that I'm on. And I've also joined one for PvP because of how PvP works in this game. Too many people all needing to know exactly what to do and where to stand with which party you're in. Yeah, that's just the content though, isn't it? 8-man raids aren't bad, but 24 messes, eh? They're difficult to coordinate for sure. The more people you can go in with where you can actually talk to them on voice, that's the other thing as well. I find it really handy to have people on Discord with me where I can just talk shit for a long time. Yeah, being able to directly interface with people is important for me. I'm actually going to go and upgrade my Red Mage weapon, which means I need to go and buy one, which is such a ball. I don't know what the best place to buy one would be. Can I make one really easily? They're level 50 yet. Oh, I can make a summon. Can I? Do I have any of that? New. Let's go buy one. Can't be asked. I'd run it with you, but I can't leave my data center. Yeah. Solo might be the best way to go. If you can solo on a DPS, then no one expects anything of you. If you have a DPS high enough, I'd say just go DPS. And if you went DPS like Dancer or something, you've got zoomies to get out of harm's way. Or Red Mage is pretty handy for that as well. It's pretty maneuverable. So, what have I not unlocked? I forgot about these. That's nice. We've received 100 messages. I don't know why it's telling me that. Yeah, DPS takes a while. It's a safer option though if you don't like. It's a trade-off, isn't it? It's like with anything, it's a trade-off. You can either go as a healer and get the instant pops, but then you have to know a lot more stuff, or you can go as a DPS and not get the instant pops, but then you're expendable. So if the only thing that you need to do is get through the content and not necessarily understand the content, you can kind of burn it away. And I say this as someone who I understand quite a lot of the content in the game, so if I ever end up in Rabanastra and we're fighting our way through and there's one DPS that's constantly dying, I'm like, oh, what are they like? I'll just keep rezzing them, or keep shields on them or whatever, and I'm in a position to understand that they probably don't know what they're doing, and therefore we're kind of carrying them through. But one DPS out of 8, that's not a terrible thing to deal with. Risk it for a biscuit. Yep. If you're a good healer, and it sounds like you are, then you can kind of enter any content and be confident that you'll be able to keep people alive. Obviously, the most important thing to do is keep yourself alive, but at the end of the day, it's just about burning through the content. So do whatever you need to get it. If like for example now you're not necessarily doing anything, you could be queuing up for the Alliance raid, and then if it pops in half an hour, doesn't matter because you're not doing anything anyway. Or do what I do and just do dailies until it pops, or deliveries. Yeah, watch a video. That's what I do. We're doing the first Eden Savage. Not first Eden Savage, we're doing... I don't even know what number it is. Basically, the Eden that was introduced in this patch, we're doing Cloud of Darkness Savage later. You named Black Mage. You mained Black Mage. You stopped running the finish before I stopped playing. Yes, Miss Tech. I absolutely adore her strat videos. They're really good. A load of people mained Black Mage and then switched to Red Mage when they realised that Red Mage was easier and could do more damage. I leveled Red Mage before I leveled Black Mage, and I'm having fun with Black Mage now, but it is a much harder job to play. Yeah, it's got a higher skill ceiling. You need to be much better at Black Mage to be able to do equivalent damage to Red Mage. Like, Red Mage is a bit face roll to be able to do high damage. And that's no shade on Red Mages. We've got some incredible Red Mages in our FC that I could not out DPS at all, but it's like everything, isn't it? There's like, you get into a job and there's a period at which you have to work at that job before you get good at it, and then you get great at it, and then you're at the top of your game. With Black Mage, that part is like this. Like, you need to spend a lot longer sucking at it before you start to get really good. I just wish there was a quick way to get to 80. Like, I mean, I know, like, first run through, you want to be able to enjoy the story and stuff, but like, when you get to like your 4th 80 or your 5th level 80, you're like, I just want to know what this is like at endgame. Of my 80s, let's see what we've got. So I've got a bunch of like gatherers and like crafters and whatever. But then I've got blue. Oh, blue is 60, but I would main blue if I could. Red Mage, Summoner, Dancer, Machinist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. 980s. At this point, I just wish that it's like, oh, I really like this. Bam, why can't I just take it 80? Well, if you do it, so if you, like, another side point for doing the Alliance raids at level 70 is you'd have access to Bosnia, which is pretty good at leveling. If you watch yesterday's video, I was in yesterday's stream, I was in Bosnia and I was leveling, and I got like a level and a half, and it took like an hour and a half, which that close to 80 is not a bad rate. Black Mage was really fun. Yeah, it took some learning. The problem with Black Mage that I found is that the job changed, like before 50, at 50, at 60, at 70. All the elements that were being introduced to the job changed. They changed the way that you play, and they changed the way that you have to think about your rotations. So that's why I'm desperate to get it at 80. In Bosnia, I can play it at level 80, and I'm really enjoying it. Outside of Bosnia, I can't get that same. I enjoy it, and I can't get that same level of enjoyment from it. I just need a cheap ass rapier. Literally just needs to be cheap. I could go and get one out of the Glamour Dresser, but I really don't want to. Oh, I'll go and get one out of the Glamour Dresser. Where? You've got Scholar and Summoner at 80, Dancer, Monk, Black Mage, Astrologer. A few gatherings at 80. That's fair, that's a good handful. No tanks, you're not tempted to level a tank? I only leveled Gunblade because I was like, I probably should have a tank for endgame. And it starts at 60, so. I'd probably always level a DPS first, I think. I'm scared of tanking. I'm guessing you've tried it at some point and got bad vibes. Do I have? Oh, do I have the chicken knife? Probably don't. Oh, I did. Yes. Chicken knife. Doesn't cost me anything to take out, and it won't cost me anything to put back. Perfect. Naked Red Mage. I'm not the biggest fan of tanking. I will do it. I'm not great at it. I normally only tank when it comes to doing maps. So we got Gangos. I'm just gonna trade in my red mage weapon because the relic has 3 stages. First stage is you get it, which costs 1,000 poetics. The second stage is you upgrade it, which increases the item level to 500. And then the third stage is you make it glowy. So at the moment, my red mage weapon is not glowy. What is it? Augmented tech. There we go. So if I remove the glamour just to show you. That's what it looks like now. It's just a standard weapon. Not too exciting. Pretty, but not too exciting. And now, this was my very first MMO. I started as a gladiator. Didn't know what the fuck a tank was. Run 2 dungeons, got bullied so fucking bad, logged out. Yeah, that's such like a consistent story in this game. Bitter memory. So I've got 40 plus of these. 49 and you only need 6, so I've got loads of relics to upgrade. That's all you do. You hand it over. Oh no, I'm going to be naked in this cutscene. Oh dear. I'm going to end up on a register. Just get a static. That's the only advice I can really give, is get a static that will be patient with you. There's absolutely no point relying on the patience of general population. Please ignore the naked Lalafell. I forgot to put some clothes on. There you go. 1 shiny relic weapon. Tailkeeper recollection. That's cool. Feel like you're a bad tank, but in reality you just haven't given yourself a chance. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think people are terrified to get things wrong. I love the nerd glasses this catboy has. Nerd, like hipster catboy, hipster cat daddy. Yeah, if there's one piece of advice I can give with anything in this game, which relates to doing it with like randos, is that if you water off a duck's back, if you just say whatever they say, they don't know me and they don't know what I can do because I don't know what I can do, then you just need to enter something with the confidence of someone who knows they're gonna fuck up. So you have to not be afraid to get it wrong. And if you get it wrong, you have to not listen to the people who are shouting at you. Because if you do, you'll start to believe it. And then you'll stop trying. And really that's the worst thing, is to stop trying. Check out my shiny sword. Oh my god, it's so shiny. I didn't bother with this because making it shiny doesn't increase the item level. You thought it was a shit healer at first. Now you're pretty confident. Sounds good. Do whatever you did to become a confident healer with a tank. Yeah. Sword animations. The character's tidying up a collar that he doesn't actually. It's just a flex with a shiny. Honestly, in this instance, it's just getting rid of all of those memories that I have. I do like this though. I think this is cool. Very regal. I think they're a prettier, shinier weapons. What was I doing? I was going to do something and I forgot. Oh, actually, do bear with. I just need to pop for a drink real quick because my throat is getting a bit hoarse. And I will be back, and then I don't even know what we're going to do. I suppose it's reset, so we could do anything. Or not. I am back. Don't really know what to do now. I suppose the resets happen, so we could run a daily or something. Just sort out some of my side buttons here. Funnily enough, this was only going to end up being like a small stream test, like a quick main story thing, and then I just got sidetracked into other things, didn't I? As I do. Oh, it means I might be able to level Black Mage a bit more though. Speaking of Black Mage, 50. Let's do that. I'm sorry I can't help more with that. That Gangos thing, that unlocking Gangos. You can Google it though. You've officially fixed your hotbars. Congratulations. Flare everything. Oh. Flare everything. Shakira. Zootopia. Ha. I'm excited to see how well you do with your new hotbar stuff. Oh, retainers. Oh, I need to sell some orchestrons. They probably won't sell for much because they're Gangos. Oh, do I have anything to trade into the donation basket, I wonder? Can I make some money? How much do they sell for? I don't want to sell them just yet. They probably won't sell for a lot, but... that's ugly. I don't want that. Bin him. Drag her. Drag that in. Sell that, because it's probably worth a lot. It's good to change. It's good to mix things up. Because I mentioned earlier, didn't I? I switched up the way that my hotbars work. Because the way that I had them before, I knew how to play it, but I also knew that I was missing out on a lot of efficiency by not rearranging. So, like, originally I had my hotbars where, you know, this was all one thing, one line, and then this was all the same as this but on Alt, but it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in some place I was using Q, but I didn't have a modifier set to Q, and I didn't have modifier set to E or R, I only had modifier set to 1 to 5, and I wasn't using the this button, the tilde at all. So I rearranged it to get the most out of my available finger space. But in doing so, it meant that everything that I knew muscle memory wise in what my hotbars didn't work anymore. So I knew the mechanics of the jobs and what I needed to do, but I needed to relearn how to do it. But it made things so much better. And prettier. I love a nice symmetrical, nice well-balanced UI. I think that's the thing that I'm nosy about the most when I watch other streamers, is like how they lay out their buttons and their UI. Like over here, I try and keep an empty screen where possible, which is ironic considering this thing has been up here for so long. But you just go in, right click, and turn it off. Yeah, I like to be really nosy and look at how people organise their UI. Yeah. And I did these macro things where I can just quickly press the button to turn most of that stuff on now. My UI was god awful. You've got to UX that bitch. UX like you've never UX'd before. I see a lot of people who have the party list up here in the top corner, top left. And that's fine if you're a DPS, because the party list isn't very important, relevant information if you're a DPS, or if you're a tank, I suppose. But if you're a healer, you want that information as close as possible. Like, you want that information in front of you, because part of what you're doing is what your character's doing and who you're attacking and where you're standing and whatnot. And part of what your character's doing is keeping everyone else alive. So those are your two elements on screen. So you need to make those two elements the biggest things that you see. And anything that aids you doing either of those two roles, it needs to be within arm's reach. Literally, like, reach out and touch a button and it's there. So for example, I've got this helpful macro for both healers and meleeers, which is just my knockback immunity, and that's bound to a button 4 on my mouse. And this hotbar here is always the same. On every job, this is shared, so everything that's here is I know where sprint is all the time. I know where knockback immunity is all the time. And that means that when it comes to a fight where you know that a knockback is coming, you don't have to think about something. You can just go, I know which button is my knockback immunity. You don't have to think, oh, I'm on Scholar, so what's my knockback immunity on Scholar? Oh, it's Showcast. Okay, where's the button for Showcast? Oh, it's down here, blah, blah, blah. You just know where it is. That's why these bars, even though they look rather awkward, they kind of float in the middle of my UI, because I'm almost always going to be looking at the center of the screen where my character is. That's where my eye's going to go. So I don't want my eye to have to travel too far around the screen to get all the relevant information I need. Same with when I'm on Astrologian. I keep Benefic here, and I keep Minor Arcana here. Because not only do I get to see what card it is, but if it's purple, it goes on a caster. If it's red, it goes on a melee. And that's all I need to know. So I can, at a glance, see the card, see what end of the party list it goes on, and throw it out. And the same with if I get a free cure because of Benefic, I'd have to look all the way down here in my hotbar, where it's bound to Alt-E, to see whether or not I've got a free cure. But because it's right in the centre, I don't have to glance very far to see it, so that's why my HUD, it looks... And I still try and make it symmetrical and pretty, but that's why those elements are where they are, so that my eyes don't have to travel too far around the screen. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And like most of the jobs that I actively play, you'll see that the important mechanics for them are close to the character. I don't play Summon very much though, not very good. Blue or red? Blue or red? There's a bunch of jobs here that I don't actually play. Oh, Samurai! Samurai I haven't played since I've redone my UI. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh, that's... Gosh, that's tiny. I'd actually put the send gauge probably next to those. This would be a bit bigger or a bit smaller. Probably make this one 110 and then have the send gauge. Put it down here actually. This is why you guys tuned in, right? You wanted to watch me rearrange my UI. This is the real end game. That won't work when that number goes into double digits, but for now, I'll leave it at that. Because I'm not going to play Samurai anytime soon. I'll do a level in, and there are 22 in the queue. 13 minutes. And then we'll probably make that the last thing that I do. So we'll do a leveling and then I'll end the stream. Because I'm sure you guys are getting tired of my voice by now. If not least my face. I certainly am. Oh, that mask is so cool. It's a shame my hair box with it, but it kind of works. Will, when are you getting back into the game, by the way? And are you going to be joining my server? What's that? Crafting. Why do I have those? Oh, of course! They're not equipped to anything anymore. So, are they done with their mission? Yay! Mission's a success. I think I have a couple of rubber dents, so I don't want that one. When completing a hero, 30% chance to receive crafted scripts. That one might be bad. Crafted scripts. Because I always put these two together and that's a hero. What do you have at the moment? Alright, well I don't need that at all. So I'm just gonna swap it. Perfect. Now you've moved and have reliable internet. Perfect. You're heading over to Lich, right? That's where all the cool people are on Lich. And then you can join my free company and you'll be featured on the stream. Because I'm lazy and I make other people do the content for me. Oh gosh. That's a pop. Oh, please don't be Tamtara. I don't mind Tamtara actually. Don't be... I want to say Miss Beard Cove. It's not Miss Beard Cove, it's Sasha. Don't be anything shit. Don't be anything shit. Yes! Oh, I love the music in this one. Say hello to everyone. I've done this so many times on Trust, you have no idea. Yeah, boy! Oh, they're still moving. I just gave myself enough MP to cast another painting. That's so funny. Yeah, first Shadowbringer dungeon. I love this one so much, especially if you run it as trust with like Elise, with Ali Bay. Fail. It's not very Black Mage friendly, it has to be said. But then what is it, this content? I mean, honestly. It just makes me love that mage. Problem is the cast time for flare. Beautiful. Her reaction to Tasleen is very similar to my reaction to Tasleen. You don't want to give any spoilers though, because I'm not sure if Will's played through the main story. Gosh, I'm gonna flip this around. I love the movement mechanics in this. Hold it, yeah. It makes the characters feel a lot more real, I think, in Shadowbringers with what happened to them. Beyond Far Behind, you don't mind spoilers, so no worries. We'll catch you up. If there's one thing that we are good at, it is catching people up in this game. But we should go very far away there. There we go. I was not a huge fan of Stormblood, if I'm honest. It was fine, but it was just fine. Like, it wasn't mega for me. I felt bad because my brother actually bought me Shadowbringers. I think I actually bought myself. Hey. No. Heaven's Ward is so good. I envy you for being able to go through Heaven's Ward again. Thinking about how good Heaven's Ward is keeps me playing. It kept me going through Stormblood. If I'm brutally honest. Can I get all of this out? No, I'll just flare. Let's just flare. Why not? So that could happen in the real world. Yeah. You play for the fantasy elements. I think that's fair. My panics. That's probably one of the only occasions, actually. Now that you mention it, it's really interesting. It's one of the only occasions where I feel like the post-patch content was still super relevant. Like, the fact that they then had to start to review their form of government and stuff, I think is just really cool. And I know, Will, you said you don't mind spoilers, but I'm still keeping it relatively spoiler-free because, like, my god, it's just so good. Like, you want to play through it for the tea. I can't wait until Ishgard residential area comes out. I am gassing to have a house in Ishgard. 100%. I am going to be the first in line. And housing is the real endgame, guys. Oh bugger, I let that drop off. I got distracted by having to do actual mechanics as a black mage. Oh. Oh. Housing savage. Housing is the real endgame. Yeah, don't skip anything in the Heaven's Ward cutscenes either. If I find out that you have, I will be most aggrieved. God, they die so quick, don't they? Good work, us. I don't know if you noticed or if you've done this on Trust, I did that exactly as like the Trust NPCs do. I ground this duty into the ground. When I first figured out you could do it as Trust. Oh. Forgetting what I'm doing now. Keep forgetting to swift cast that flare. Go to the center of the stack every time. And you stand there on the Trust, you're like, guys, you don't have to go that hard. It's like, yes they do. They are computers. Because that's what computers do. Just flare. My NPCs are not 80. I think I got to the point where I had unlocked Unmeg with them and then that was it. I was like, this is taking a lot longer than I'm willing to invest. Kudos to you for having them all at 80 though. And again, no spoilers, but I'm very glad that you get an extra Trust NPC at the end that is already 80. normally you don't really want to be doing aerial effects with like 3 enemies, you kind of want 4 at least. But you get into such a rhythm with Black Mage that you just keep pressing those buttons. Pressing those buttons, bitch. Oh yeah. God, I love buttons and pressing them. Every time I see a stack, my first instinct is to run to the center. 30. Wouldn't it be great if you got like this random dungeon, and everyone was just so ingrained with the trust system that they all just pretended to be NPCs? I would live. God, thunderclouds everywhere I go. Despair! Oh, don't chain me down, Daddy. Daddy. Get me out. I have to keep this Black Mage buff up. Yeah, just doing one pull at a time. Maybe I shouldn't wish my life away. Oh, fuck off. Whoops. I forgot what I'm doing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Black Mage. Oh, come over here, my darlings. Save me. Save me from myself. Oh yeah. I distracted myself again, you see? God. Heavy movement phase. What every Black Mage loves. A heavy movement. I'm just gonna keep going there. I'll just like how's that? Okay. Good. Snack. That's me not being friendly. Right, now let's try and take this seriously, shall we? No. Is he chaining me down again? No, it's not. Awkward. Oh, I'm casting the wrong thing, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. If you're tunnel visioned on your character, which is what I was just doing, and then when I wasn't tunnel visioning, I was dropping off my resources. Here. So. Oh sure, now I get that. Yeah, when you get tunnel vision like that, Maybe I do need to have cast by a lot higher. Oh, excuse me. 177. It's not bad. Don't know if anyone else in my maximum uptime will see. That's my brother, I think he's AFK. You get so tunnel visioned on my character by the party list. That's why I had to make it bigger. I can't show you actually, because obviously I'm not in the party anymore, but my party list is like huge when I'm on healer. Because again, I need to try and break up my visual screen so that I don't end up just staring at the center. I need something else to look at over here. Should we do another thing? Actually, for a laugh, let's do an expert, and you can see. You can give me tips on healing. Oh no, I'm wearing my Scholar Glam. I forgot that it reglammed it. And I'm wearing that ridiculous Eden hat. Oh, I look like I should be feeding the birds. For tuppence a bag. Heal. Oh. Dark Knight. Oh, good. Sorry, Will, this might be a bit spoilery. It's a fun dungeon though. This glam is actually really nice, but I've got the Scholar mortarboard sat on one of them. Right. Come on, guys. Yeah, I've got a melee character. And a ranged character. I'm so happy. I forget how quickly people do these things. Come on, gang. Come on. Let's go. A little lame healing here. I want that one. I love that this is the Sunny and Ziggy. Good anti-tower callback there. Easy peasy. Earthly Star is one of the best spells in the game. I 100% agree. It is the prettiest spell, and also it's the most underappreciated. Especially when you want maximum uptime in like duties and savage duties and stuff. This is one of the relics, by the way, the Realm Reborn relic. It's a glam, but that's what it looks like. There's a gold version of it, which is the step before, and honestly, quite often I'll just leave it on the gold version. Depends on what glams I've got. Come on, boys. Put you in there. Aim for the hole, dude. Yeah, good boy. What? Oh, I like that he turned it. Most tanks don't think to do that. Be the bird, top beneath the bird. Oh yeah, thank you. I never end up using most of the old shit buttons that I've got on Astrology. Probably should. Over here. With our giant balls. Getting it down that sloppy hole. This is Matoya's relic. This was introduced in the last patch. I think watching the dungeon there probably aren't any spoilers, but the fact that you're able to see the dungeon is a bit of a spoiler. If you haven't done it already, that is. You need to do this one if you're going to unlock Expert again. For grinding those tombstones. You haven't done 5.4 content, that's fair. I'm waiting for 5.45 Blue Mage stuff. Yes. It's fun though, I think it's cute. I love that it's in Realm Reborn area. Come on, buddy. Do the card. Oh, you're all the way over there, that's why I couldn't do it. How do you expect me to play Yu-Gi-Oh without being able to card? Patch came out the day we left for vacation. And when we came back, I wanted to get my healers up before we went. Fair. That's fair. I like being a healer in this dungeon, I will warn you though. Like, these are big pulls. Big pulls at endgame content. Here, I have all the healing in the world. Good work, everybody. Good work, everyone except the person wearing my hat. White Mage and Asta are the best suited for bulls. So our raid leader and my friend Lee, he likes to do expert on White Mage, and he will consistently out DPS the DPS. And like I'm on Red Mage, so like I'm trying desperately to do those big AoE attacks that Red Mage are good for, and same with Dancer, and I get really high numbers, but he just out DPSs every time. It's impressive and infuriating in equal measure. But man, White Mage, the damage. God, I hope I can get everyone with this. Got it. I almost wish that like you could just take White Mage as DPS in these kind of duties, because it would be over so quickly. Oh, I used that at the wrong time, didn't I? Come on. Literally just wasted about 6 or 7 seconds on this. That's not min-maxing, that's minning. Yeah, have a card, quick. Holy spell of pulls on the side. That's it. You've literally just White Mage Guide, written by Van Princess. That's all you need to know. Any damage that I take on this character, I'm immediately loading on this hat. Great. Oh, what's this? 485. Hey, if you caught up to this duty, you could find this gear. Maybe the dire dot. Just don't refresh it early. If you just use dire and just leave it on for its full take, if you refresh it earlier, it constitutes as DPS. I only know that from people telling my brother stop refreshing dire early. Hey guys, wait up! I'm slowed down by hat. What? Oh gosh, I'm not there. Have all of that shit. And while you're at it, have all of this shit. I feel like when I use neutral sect, if I don't spend the whole time spamming Aspected Helios, then why bother? I love the lava in this place, look how gay the lava is. It's beautiful, this dungeon. Music's fun, but the visuals on this place is so good. Try a couple of combusts, why not? Oh yeah, cards. That's the problem with experts, it's just so easy to zone out. And now we AoE the mob. And then we AoE the mob again. God, I'm hideous. This clan is so cute with the motorboard, you're just gonna have to Flavor. Here you go, everybody else. And I'll just cast Malefic. Oh, there's a white mage main Shadowbringers. Cut it to 70 to death. I should concentrate on the thing, but kind of fell in love with it after the card change. White mage was my first 70. Just now getting it to 80. They're both really strong. And I can, like I said earlier, I can certainly understand if there was a way that you enjoyed playing that was changed, then I can see why you'd be gutted. Look at that lava! It's so gay! Come on, it's in the bauble. And then that's it, last time. Oh wait, no. Wait, what? Oh yeah, there we go. I forgot the cutscene has to happen because the clouds weren't there. Notice the clouds? They become important later on. Foreshadowing. Come on guys, let's do this. I don't think so. Isn't that a cool mechanic? There's another cool mechanic in this, I think it's the next one. Yeah, it's this one. You end up running against the wall, and I think it's just so cool. Oh no. What? Yes! They made it easier, yeah, for sure. I like how you liked it because it was hard. They made it more accessible for people like me. Gosh, this is fun. Rarely use the card system like, look, she's up there. Which means we have to go over here. Right here. Hey, bang in the middle. I'd encourage you to still use the card because that's like a major mechanism for maintaining your MP. Because we had real issues with MP and having to material up piety in the last endgame, in the last meta. And they tied MP usage to delivering a card. So now, if you keep up with the cards, you get MP back every time. And Ast is really strong there in that. In terms of like managing MP. I'm not sure if it's on the draw or on the use of the card. Oh my god, I'm feeling lucky. How unlucky. Oh, I've almost got exercise in the right, so I need to do that on Black Mage next time. And there we go. Still using just not nearly enough. Yeah, that's fair. Well, that's the game within the game, isn't it? Okay, beauties. Might love you and leave you. Go for a walk or something. I'm not sure if I'm streaming later. We're supposed to be doing Savage, Eden Savage, later. But what I might do is, I might just film it and not stream it. Because it's prog, and when you're progging, you just end up getting frustrated about dying to mechanics and stuff, so... Probably not stream that. Probably stream tomorrow. But thank you for gaming with me. Oh look, I have a two-shot, look. See? Still see the game is like down there. Isn't that cool? You have chores to do anyway. That's fair, I have chores that I probably should be doing. But I'm not. I'm going to sit here and smell my candle. Actually no, I'm going to go for a week, because I'm busting for a week. There we go. Oh, before anyone leaves, this is important. Where is it? There! Look. Oh, it's not working. Oh, because I'm on Astrologia, obviously. Look how cute my Scholar Glam is. Isn't that great? Ding. Okay. I will see you guys later.